Once upon a time, in a prosperous kingdom, there lived a king renowned for his insatiable thirst for knowledge and extraordinary wisdom. Each year, he summoned sages from far and wide to the palace, eager to learn from their insights. Among these sages, Eli was the most revered. He was known for his unshakable calmness and profound serenity, even in the most trying circumstances. Tales of his remarkable composure circulated throughout the land, from his fearless rescue of a child from a burning house to his compassionate persuasion that led a bandit to drop his weapon. One day, the king devised a special test to evaluate Eli's tranquility. He summoned Eli to the palace and presented him with a beautiful ceramic vase, exquisitely crafted and adorned with intricate patterns. However, what made the vase truly remarkable was its fragility. A mere bump could shatter it into countless pieces. The king declared, "Eli, I challenge you to carry this vase with you for 3 months. If it breaks, you will be exiled from the kingdom forever." Eli accepted the challenge with silent gratitude, fully aware of the deeper significance behind the king's decree. From that moment on, he kept the vase close, moving with utmost care to ensure its safety. Yet, as news of this challenge spread throughout the kingdom, it sparked envy and mischief among the people. They began to devise elaborate plots to test Eli's composure. The initial challenges. At first, the antagonists engaged in harmless pranks. They pretended to bump into Eli as he walked through the streets, trying to knock him off balance or tossing objects at his feet. Despite their antics, Eli remained unflustered, deftly avoiding any mishaps and keeping his eyes forward, focused on his path. As time passed, their pranks grew increasingly malicious. One evening, they lay in wait for Eli, placing obstacles in his path, even greasing the floor to make him slip and shatter the vase. Yet, Eli remained unyielding. He carefully observed each step he took, unwavering in his resolve, and continued to protect the vase. His mind was a fortress, impervious to distractions, as if the mischief around him had ceased to exist. Temptations of power and wealth. Weeks later, a wealthy merchant, intrigued by the vase's allure, sought to test Eli's loyalty. Approaching him, the merchant said, "Eli, you are a wise man. Why waste your time guarding a fragile vase? I will offer you a substantial sum of money in exchange for it. With that fortune, you could live a life of luxury without a care." Eli listened quietly, then replied, "This vase is not merely an object to be traded. It represents a responsibility entrusted to me by the king. To relinquish it would be to betray the trust placed in me." The merchant scoffed at his answer and departed. Despite the temptation of wealth, Eli's mind remained steadfast, and he continued his task. The intruder's appearance. As the trial drew to a close, one night on his way home, Eli was confronted by a shadowy figure. The intruder said nothing. He lunged forward, snatching the vase from Eli's grasp and fleeing into the night. Eli did not panic. Instead, he pursued the thief with a calm determination. The thief darted through dark alleyways, but Eli, undeterred, chased after him, resolute in his quest to recover the vase. Eventually, they reached the edge of a forest, where the thief paused, a mysterious smile on his face. He turned to Eli and said, "You have protected this vase for 3 months. But have you ever questioned why you are doing so? This vase is nothing but a meaningless object. Why endure the stress and inconvenience it brings?" Without hesitation, Eli replied, "The vase symbolizes a lesson in responsibility. True strength lies not in material possessions, but in our ability to confront our obligations. When we commit, regardless of the circumstances, We must do our utmost to uphold that commitment." The thief erupted in laughter. Then, with a swift motion, he smashed the vase against the ground. The shattering sound echoed through the night. Eli gazed at the fragments, his heart untroubled as he let out a gentle sigh, devoid of blame or anger. An unexpected revelation from the king. The thief lowered his hood, and to Eli's astonishment, it was none other than the king himself. The king regarded Eli with admiration, stating, "Eli, the vase was but the first challenge. The true test was not in safeguarding a fragile object, but in how you handle loss. In life, even that which we cherish can vanish. What matters most is our response to that loss." Eli bowed his head in gratitude, realizing that true serenity is not found in clinging to possessions, but in embracing the impermanence of existence. Yet the king was not finished. This is not the final challenge. The ultimate challenge, confronting the self. The following day, the king presented Eli with another vase, but this time he warned, "This vase possesses great power. If you truly need strength, speak your wish, and it will grant you limitless power. But beware, such power can lead you into darkness if you are not vigilant." Eli accepted the vase with reverence, but his heart was filled with anxiety. On the first day of bringing the vase home, he tucked it away in a hidden corner, convincing himself that he did not need the power it offered. Instead, he would rely on his wisdom and kindness to face every challenge. The traps of the ego. However, one day, Eli witnessed a group of youths bullying an old, frail man. Anger and indignation surged within him. For the first time, he was tempted to use the power from the vase to punish the wrongdoers. But then he remembered the king's warning about power easily drawing one into darkness. Rather than using force, Eli approached the youths and admonished them with wisdom and patience. Though he succeeded in helping the old man, Eli realized that the anger quietly simmering inside him was a sign of the ego he had not fully acknowledged. He began to understand that his ego was not something foreign. It was the voice within urging him to wield power, making him desire to be stronger than others. The inner dialogue. One night, Eli sat beside the vase and contemplated. He realized that the ego was not something to be easily discarded, but rather something to be learned to control and harmonize with. As he pondered, he asked himself, "Am I doing this to save the villagers or to assert my own power?" Ultimately, he understood that if his actions were solely to satisfy his ego, that would be a false power, not true compassion. The final temptation. Then one day, Eli heard news of a village being attacked by bandits. Upon hearing this, his first thought was to use the power from the vase to defeat the robbers. But a feeling of pride surged within him, causing him to pause. Eli decided to go to the village without utilizing the vase's power. He helped the villagers build barricades, taught them how to defend themselves, and encouraged their courage. He wanted the villagers to see that they had their own strength, independent of any hero. The enlightenment about the ego. After saving the village without resorting to the power of the vase, Eli realized a profound lesson. He recognized that the ego is always present, and the only way to overcome it is not to let it dictate his decisions. The ego is not something to be destroyed, but to be controlled and accepted with humility. When he returned to the palace, Eli placed the vase down before the king and bowed, saying, "Your Majesty, I have learned that the ego cannot be completely eliminated, but it should not be allowed to lead. Only when we learn to accept our ego without letting it control us, can we truly become powerful. The king smiled and replied, Eli, you have already surpassed the true challenge. The greatest power is not in winning externally, but in conquering oneself. From that day on, Eli lived with a peaceful and humble spirit, realizing that the greatest strength lies in the tranquility of knowing oneself not as a victor or a vanquished, but as someone in harmony with all. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. By subscribing, you'll stay updated with all our latest content, and it really helps us out. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss any future uploads. Thanks again, and see you in the next video.